So listen, I do a lot of foreign policy on my show. I like to talk about what's going on, not only in Latin America, but in the Middle East. I've done a lot of work when it comes to Pakistan. And Imran Khan is a populist leader. I've been following for quite some time. Over a little bit of a year and some change ago, right around when the invasion started of Russia to Ukraine, or military action, however you want to classify it, the government in Pakistan had a vote of no confidence and removed Imran Khan. Now, if you know the history of Pakistan, my good friend Raji Rob used to tell me, who lived on the border of Pakistan and India, he said, in India, the government controls the military. In Pakistan, the military controls the government. And I think, I'm almost positive, I'm pretty sure that I don't think one prime minister of Pakistan has ever finished his whole term there. They keeps getting removed by military coups, vote of no confidence. There's an old school family bloodline that continues to run Pakistan. Along comes a guy by the name of Imran Khan, who happened to be a cricket player for Pakistan. They actually won the World Cup under his leadance and his guidance. He was the captain of the team. They were down and out, it seemed, and he changed the whole mentality of the team. He switched their T-shirts to wear a tiger on it because he wanted them to have the power and the force of a tiger, and they won the World Cup. So he became a populist figure, and he eventually started this party, the PTI, years ago, and he was the first president of Pakistan from this particular party. Like I said, they removed him. Now, we were trying to play this game where we were trying to guess. I was on Kim Iverson's show, and we talked about it. I had thought the West was behind it because they seem to be always behind everything, you know. She thought maybe it was just the military alone itself. Either way, it seems to be now that we found out because of the intercept, some secret papers were leaked. And good job, Ryan Grimm, on this particular one. I mean, I don't know why they chose to leak these papers to the intercept. Either way, good news is good news, right? So let's take a look at this because now we know for sure. Secret Pakistan cable, it's cable documents. They called it a cipher. U.S. pressure to remove Imran Khan. All will be forgiven, said the U.S. diplomat, if the no confidence vote against Prime Minister Imran Khan succeeds. The U.S. State Department encouraged the Pakistani government in March 7, 2022, meeting to remove Imran Khan as the prime minister over his neutrality on the Russian invasion of the Ukraine, according to a classified Pakistani government document obtained by The Intercept. Now, I want to stop there for 1 second because they're saying that this was the reason why they had him removed. If you don't know what happened, Imran Khan, on the day of the military action, was actually in Moscow meeting with Putin. Pakistan is one of those countries. They don't have a lot of support. They're kind of politically homeless somewhere. The kingdom, meaning Saudi Arabia, would always support them, but very little help. Poor country it is. So he was going over to speak to Putin to possibly talk about trade deals. And therefore, this is what they're saying. This is why they're saying the reason why they removed him. But I think it's more than that. And we're going to kind of investigate that. And we have a guest coming on, a special guest. It's awesome. I've talked to him before, who not only happens to be an artist, a musician, wrote books, and he's from Pakistan, but he also happens to be a good friend of Imran Khan, and he played cricket with him back in the days. So let's continue with this here, because what I'm trying to say is that I think it is more than just him going to Russia. I think the Russia thing and the fact that he wanted to keep Pakistan neutral was the straw that broke the camel's back. You guys tell me. The meeting between the Pakistani ambassador to the United States and the two State Department officials have been the subject of intense scrutiny, controversy, and speculation in Pakistan over the past year and a half. Supportive of Khan's and his military and civilian opponents jockeyed for power. The political struggle escalated on August 5th when Khan was sentenced to 3 years in prison on the corruption charges and taken into custody for the second time since his ouster. And this is just recently they've arrested him. Khan's defenders dismissed the charges as baseless. The sentence, and this is very important, also blocks Khan, Pakistan's most popular politician, from contesting elections expected in Pakistan later this year. So it's not just about punishing him for having an uprising, because once he was removed, he took to the streets. And boy, did he fill the streets. It's not that I like Imran Khan. It's that his people like Imran Khan. 1 month after the meeting with the U.S. officials documented in the leaked Pakistani government document, a no-confidence vote was held in parliament, leading to Khan's removal from power. The vote is believed to have been organized with the backing of Pakistani's powerful military, like it's always been. Since that time, Khan and his supporters have been engaged in a struggle with the military and its civilian allies, whom Khan claims engineered his removal from power at the request of the USA. The text of the Pakistani cable produced from the meeting by the ambassadors and transmitted to Pakistan has not been previously published. The cable, known as internally as a cipher, reveals both the carrots and the sticks that the State Department deployed in its push against Khan, promising warmer relationships if Khan was removed and isolation if he's not. So pretty much they said, hey, get rid of this clown, Imran Khan, and things will be better for you in the United States. You might get a little bit more trade, more loans, more money. If you keep him in there, though, and you let him stay, things won't be so good for you.
I remember this story when it happened.
Yeah.
And I know the media didn't really talk about it, but it was a story of like we got him kicked out. Were they all pretending that we didn't do that for this whole time? And
they're still pretending like they didn't do it once again.
It's just a nudge.
No.
It's not coercion or invasion. They're just giving a nudge.
It's just a nudge.
Don't
I like that.
Nudge
it's a
theory?
nudge.
Nudge theory.
I'm going to use that. It was just a nudge.
Yeah.
They didn't really want him removed and say remove him or else. They just gave him a little nudge.
A nudge here and a jab there. What's the big deal?
And it really, to tell you the truth, that's the best way to classify it as a nudge, because they didn't say get rid of him. They say, hey, things will be better, Kurt, if he's gone.
They didn't even give them a guarantee of anything other than like we'd be cooler.
No, not at all. They didn't give concrete reasons if he was removed. They just said, hey, if he's in there and he stays in there, things are going to suck for you.
That's why I was surprised that in Brazil, so he didn't get on board with Ukraine like they expected him to. A lot of places didn't get on board with Ukraine. That's why I was surprised in Brazil when Lula came in and wouldn't give weapons. Like, how come he gets to stay in power?
Well, he did kind of, I think in a meeting or two, he did kind of side and say it was an illegal invasion. So he kind of...
He didn't give him weapons.
No. And he kind of played it like, Lula's a very crafty politician, right? You know what I'm saying? He understands how to play both sides. He's a lot like Narendra Modi. Narendra Modi would be with the BRICS Council, whatnot. They'll be talking. They'll be shaking hands and kissing. The next day, he'll be at the G19 or G20, whatever it is. And Biden is told to go over and make sure you talk to Modi, and Modi's playing that part. Oh. So Modi and Lula are very, very crafty politicians. I'm sure people have their criticisms about him, but they are crafty. And, I always thought that Imran Khan was pretty crafty.
He's a former soccer player, though.
Cricket.
Oh, cricket.
He's a cricket player. I was like, he won the cricket.
Soccer of baseball?
It's soccer. That's a kid. Nudge. Let me finish up on this really quick because we're going to get our guest to come in and talk about this. The document labeled secret includes an account of the meeting between State Department officials, including Assistant Secretary of State for the Bureau of South and Central Asian Affairs, Donald Liu, who, of course, works for Anthony Blinken, and Asad Mahid Khan, who at the time was Pakistani's ambassador to the United States. In the meeting, according to the document, Liu spoke in forthright terms about Washington's displeasure with Pakistan's stance in the conflict. The document quotes Liu saying that people here in Europe are quite concerned about about why Pakistan is taking such an aggressively neutral position on Ukraine. Why are you taking such an aggressive neutral stance on Ukraine? How is it aggressive to be neutral?
Yeah, wow. That really is, that sums it up for like all of us and everyone. Your neutrality is aggressive and your nonviolence is violent.
Yes. They even said if such a position is possible, it does not seem such neutral stand to us. Liu added that he had held internal discussions with the U.S. National Security Council and that it seems quite clear that this is the Prime Minister's policy, neutrality. So, this is a great little interview right here with Imran Khan, with Afshin Rattanzi.
How recently?
This was right after it had happened.
Okay, all right. I remember this.
And then he was on again quite right before. I think this is the one right before. But he in both interviews, he pretty much hits the same points and sums up exactly what happens. Take a look.
Any any contact with U.S. authorities? Because the optics of your overthrow were that you were with Vladimir Putin as the response by Russia to NATO provocation, as Russia saw it, happened in Donbass. And there's been very little support for you from Washington. But on the other hand, you've tempered your initial charges that Washington was the sole conspirator of the coup that you allege.
When my government was removed, so just to give your viewers exactly what happened, a cipher, which is a correspondence from our ambassador in Washington, with his conversation with the American Undersecretary of State of South Asia. It was a recorded conversation in terms that there were note takers on both sides. So it was an official meeting.
This is Donald Liu, right? Anthony Blinken's diplomat.
Yeah, so that correspondence, which is called the cipher, secret correspondence, arrived at the Foreign Office and at my desk. Now, what did it say? Donald Liu is telling the Pakistani ambassador that if you do not remove Imran Khan, your prime minister, in a vote of no confidence, there will be consequences for Pakistan. The next day, there's a vote of no confidence against me, a government that had the best economic performance in 17 years.
But as you know now, Shehbaz Sharif is saying they have leaked audio of you saying we must use this. I mean, that doesn't necessarily negate the fact that the Biden administration was trying to overthrow you, but was that true too, the audio recording of you saying we must use this? One can understand you wanting to use it after all.
It's a conversation which was taped by the secret agencies, and then they doctored it. You know now if they tape your conversation, I mean, with artificial intelligence, you can actually do anything. So they doctored the conversation, but let me just make it clear.
It's a fake tape.
No, it was doctored. There were some things that were right, but then there were, you can easily doctor it. But
what they were saying is pretty much that they're like, oh no, he's just trying to take a situation and exploit it.
Okay, let's say he was.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
I would. Hey,
me too.
The corrupt.
Yeah.
Why
Let me
would you
exploit
not?
the truth, right?
Was that? Oh, like how Russia exploits that they are real, literal Nazis that they're fighting.
Yes.
Hey guys, keep the Nazi symbols down. Russia can use this.
Kurt, Zelensky is Jewish, and of course there's some Nazis there, but it's not like they're all Nazis.
Yeah, and they know they can kill them anytime you don't do what they want.
Well, the truth is that what they don't talk about, I don't want to get off topic, but those particular Nazis in Ukraine hate Russians more than they hate Jews, I think. That's personally what I think, because the language they use, calling them orcs and cockroaches, whatnot, and they fought them in World War II. They fought against them. They fought on the side of the Germans. So they seem to have
It's complicated. Come on, it's complicated.
Hashtag.
It's complicated.
the point is, I made that cipher public. I couldn't publish what was in the exactly correspondence because it's a secret code. But we put that cipher in front of our cabinet, our National Security Council. Pakistan officially demarched the US for interfering in our internal affairs. So that's the cipher. But later on, we discovered what you were referring to. We discovered that it was our own army chief who was campaigning against me, who was the main architect of conspiring to remove me.
You're talking about General Asim Munir?
No, I'm talking about General Bajwa. He's the ex-army chief.
Okay.
Just got to stop it real quick. This is where the questions came into play. Was where came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it these particular general? You know what I'm saying? Because there's a history of the West working with the military in Pakistan to control the government. So he was trying to figure out, was it the West who was really pushing this? That's why these new revelations coming to light give us a more clear picture of what's going on. Was it the West pushing things, or was it the military, factions inside the military, just using the West, using the thought of the West to gain power itself? So we were trying to figure out who was the main power player in this, but when the Intercept got these papers, it made it quite clear it was the West pushing the military to make the change.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know how when we went and got Bin Laden and they turned off all their radar equipment because there's no way we'd be able to sneak into Pakistan. We gave them all the best stuff to use to detect people.
Yeah.
I imagine they're pretty beholden to us on a lot of levels. And also, they hid bin Laden from us and, like, you know.
Can I ask you real quick?
Yeah.
What do you? I mean, are you not like blown away? I know, audience, are you not blown away? I mean, I think it's we're just used to it right now. The fact is that the West thinks it can do whatever it wants to do, whenever it wants to.
Do you not know what American exceptionalism is?
I do.
Because I didn't, and I looked it up.
But when you see Blinken speak in
the 2000s,
yes,
I guess an issue is that Alexander de Tocqueville, some whatever, who cares what he thought, but it wasn't originally that, but it got changed to that during the Iraq War, during the Bush administration, to mean we can do whatever we want. I didn't know I didn't know they just outright said it like that. You know?
Yeah.
But that's why. That's why when you say, how come we can do it? They're like, they don't want to have to say American exceptionalism, all these people, but that's the doctrine.
It's, you know what? That's when I started opening my eyes was the Iraq War. And really quickly before we do this, I don't know if you noticed, Kurt, but I'm a newspaper guy.
Yeah.
I got a newspaper hat when I read it because if you want to know the propaganda that's out there, they tell you. Look at this. Really quickly, it says a U.S. favorite emerges as the guy in Niger. It's like they tell you right there that they're going to pick your leaders. They don't give a damn what the people of those countries want.
They're just helping
They're
them.
going to pick your leaders. They're just helping you.
You know how Victoria Nuland was just helping with Ukraine? They weren't like why the hell is she on the phone picking who at all?
They were nudging.
No, Niger asked for help, and we're giving it to him.
And we got the guy. We're going to pick the guy. To hell what the people say in Niger. To hell to what the people say in Pakistan. We're going to pick the guy.
We'll have a fake election for him. Like, we'll do it. What they do is Simon Atiba, the guy, kept getting kicked out of the Jen Psaki press conferences.
Yes, I know who that is.
The way those democracies that's elected, the people are so poor in a place where none of them should be poor. The politician just pays them money and then they go and vote for him. And that's how you get your democracy. So just keep them poor so then they get their payout to vote. Then we get our guy and, they get...
But even that, you know what I'm saying? They have ways of fixing elections. The West goes in there. Listen, somebody wanted me to go to Nigeria to look at their elections. A group was there like, these elections are bad. Please come here and report on them. They're awful. I wasn't able to make it out there, but you know who else was able to make it out there?
Who?
Stacey Abrams. So now that's why you know that election was full of crap, because she went out there to observe the Nigeria election, and now they have their puppet there that's pushing back against all these African nations that want to join together and say enough is enough to France and the United States. Get the hell out. Let us use our resources the way we want.
No, all these countries are like boy bands that got taken advantage of by that fat guy from Orlando, the one that was a blimp magnate or something.
Was he the Taylor Swift guy too, or no?
No, he was like the
Backstreet Boys. Okay, yeah.
The guys
I know
next
you're
door,
talking
just
about.
like a string of group, and it's all like he became a zillionaire, and they had like nothing in their account, even though they're billions of dollars made off of them.
Yeah.
And that's
they didn't have nothing in their bank accounts.
We give Africa record deals like the rappers. That's what we do.
A little bit in there. They got a little taste.
No, a few people at the top get something.
Yeah.
Like China probably does the same thing, just nicer terms that aren't as crippling as the ones we do.
You're talking about Korea, who's got all the boy bands.
I'm just saying these countries, it's like when Backstreet realized they don't have any money for some reason, and this big fat animal's been stealing from them. That's what Nigeria
Well, they signed the
realizes.
contract. They're the ones who choosing who gets played on the radio and not, so they sign those contracts. I'm not saying it's their fault.
Who signs a contract?
The Backstreet Boys, all of them. I forgot the guy's name.
It's not a perfect analogy, I have to say. It isn't.
But all right, let's play the rest of it. It's a good analogy.
I never managed to stand up to scrutiny.
He was telling the U.S. he had hired a lobbyist called Hussein Haqqani on our payroll, my government's payroll, who was lobbying against me in Washington, telling the Americans that, look, Imran went to Russia on his own accord, and as if the whole foreign office or all the stakeholders were not on board. And that was in the cipher too. And he campaigned that Imran is anti-American and General Bajwa is pro-America. And so therefore, now we discovered that they were poisoned against me because I had a perfect good relationship with the Trump administration.
That's anti-American.
I want to make sure I pointed that out there. And really I'm not gonna. There's no volume on this, but look at the size of this guy's protest, Kurt. Like
Is this now?
This was right when they removed him. I went back to when they ousted him, and they were doing this in the streets of Pakistan all over the country. I'd never seen anything like it. They would have these candles at night. It was ridiculous. So I knew from right from 21 Jump Street that he was the populist choice. And I'm all about the populist choice. Whatever the people want, give it to them. The United States shouldn't have been making those decisions. Now, I talked about earlier before, was it the fact that he went to Russia, why they removed him? I don't think so. I think it's more than that. Because he wanted to change the whole mentality, the whole culture of Pakistan, where the military ran things, and the military worked in conjunction with the United States.
Yeah, right.
And you know we support always the craziest groups, whether it be the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, Al-Qaeda, and ISIS.
We worked with the military in Pakistan to make them.
Yes, exactly. We created them. And, you know, even before the Russians went into Afghanistan, we were funding the Mujahideen to cause shit in Afghanistan. That's why the Russians were in there. We actually drew them in there. We had the Contras in Nicaragua. All these radical groups. We support the craziest groups. Imran Khan.
Yes. We supported the Moonies.
Imran Khan wanted them gone. He wanted to change the whole mentality. This is an interview with him in Julian Assange. I think it was back in 2012. I'm not sure. It could have been before that. I think it was 2012.
If you go at the military-industrial complex, you know, you got to go.
Take a listen to Imran Khan over here as Julian Assange questions him.
Let's move on to the US. Tell me about this assassination of Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. What was the feeling in Pakistan? That the ISI was hiding Osama bin Laden, that they are incompetent? Why was Osama bin Laden in Pakistan?
Julian, what you must understand is that Osama bin Laden was trained by the ISI and CIA. All Al-Qaeda were trained by the CIA and ISI about 20 years back. So these people were assets of the Pakistan Army. They were trained by the Pakistan Army and the ISI, financed by the CIA, but they were fighting the Soviets. And for a long time, these groups had very close association with the Pakistan secret agencies. Now suddenly comes 9/11, and you do a 180 degrees turn. I mean, Musharraf does a 180 degrees turn. But it didn't mean that all along the way, people would have accepted this. Because here were people trained for jihad. Jihad, in this case, means fighting a foreign occupation. So how are you going to convince them, having indoctrinating not only these militant groups, but also your own agencies, that their fighting foreign occupation is a religious duty?
I got to stop real quick because this stuff makes me laugh over it. This is just crazy. And this is what we did in Syria. At one point, we're funding them. 2 seconds later, we're going after them. And that's what's going on in Pakistan.
Ingrates.
Yes.
After all the help we gave them, they turn on us.
Yes. They have a coup. But, I mean, this is the stuff we do all the time. Why? Because the United States foreign policy group, or whatever you want to call them, cabal, doesn't care if we win the war. They don't care if we lose the war. All they care is if that we have the war. Because then there's a shit ton of money to be made. They did it in Pakistan. They did it in Syria. They don't care. They were assets, and then they became enemies.
This thing that they're saying, Jimmy played before. Hillary Clinton says the same thing that he's saying. Yeah. Well, let's not forget where they came from because blah blah. And she said that's the thing is crazy. This isn't top secret.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this, but like you don't know it. I don't know how that works. Compartmentalization, maybe? I don't know.
Well, I don't think people are paying attention for it. I mean, they're consumed with their daily lives, trying to put food on the table. There's a lot of great reality TV shows. Honestly, why are you going to watch this shit?
I knew we had done that to fight the commies, so I guess we had to fight the commies. Yes. Okay,
always to fight the commies.
And then I was like, well, then they turned on us after we. I think of what the hell I was thinking when I knew this.
Yeah,
but didn't have a problem with it, and I was like, well, I guess they're like ingrates. Like, I don't even know how you don't make the leap as to how it keeps happening over and over. Yeah. Like, I'm not bright enough to pick up on it the first 30 or so times. Yeah. But by now...
I'm going to play a little bit more of this because we have our guest here. And the guest is going to just shed so much light on this whole situation. Take a look.
By some subset in the ISI. Some people, perhaps, who had dealt with him in the past who were still loyal.
Of course. People who would have thought that fighting another foreign occupation, which is now the US, is also a religious duty. Of course, it's possible.
Is there a feeling that the US is helping clean out militants in Pakistan, or is there a feeling that it's a violation of Pakistani sovereignty?
This was the ultimate humiliation. Here is a country which has, at that time, had lost about 35,000 people dead, fighting America's war. And as I said, the country had lost far more in terms of material losses than the aid given to us. So, and the government puts the figure to $70 billion, aid under $20 billion. So therefore, here is a country that's supposed to be sacrificing for the US. And then our ally did not trust us and actually came and killed someone on our own soil. It was that, the two factors combined, A, the sacrifice, and secondly, here's an ally, which, are we a friend or an enemy? So forget about what the government thought. I'm talking about the people of the country who didn't really know what was going on, because as the army was being accused, the army might have kept them, or either they were incompetent, or they said either they were incompetent or in cahoots. But what about the people? So there was, if anything, there was a very strong reaction born out of a feeling of humiliation.
And do you think that, that the US argued that Osama bin Laden is a terrorist responsible for the deaths of many Americans, so they have a right to go in and take him out?
All I'm saying is that war on terror is somehow the confusion is that you win a war on terror by bombs and killing people. Actually, war on terror is one when you win hearts and minds of people. If you lose that war, there is no way this is going to end. I mean, Pakistan is more radicalized today than it was 8 years back. Pakistan is more polarized today. It's a polarized society than it was 8 years back. Whatever we do, military is not a solution. We have failed for 8 years. The Americans have failed for 11 years. What are we going to do now which is different? And as Einstein said, madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's not going to happen. There's no military solution. Only way is a political solution. Pakistan can play a part in the political solution. We do not have politicians who are capable or credible enough. So you need elections, a credible government, hopefully ours. We'll start a political dialogue, help the Americans in an exit strategy from Afghanistan.
Exit?
It's the only way out of this.
And that's why I think he was such a threat.
Of course.
He wanted to get rid of this crap government, wanted to get rid of the military dictatorship, rid himself of all the jihads over there, change the cultures, and get the Americans out.
Okay. Number one, Einstein didn't say that.
Yeah.
That thing about crazy. But also, did that sound familiar to you when he said about how it's more polarized than ever in Pakistan?
Yeah.
And it's more this or that? Sounds awful lot like here. Almost like the same techniques we use to help the Middle East, we might have used to help your, I don't know, Antifas and Proud Boys, and all the scary things, and all the, think of how much crazier it is now in America of polarization. After all this supposed anti-racism and all this, people are more polarized than ever.
Yes.
Not in real life. In real life, I don't see anybody talk that way, but like all these crazy groups, you don't think there's some intelligence agency? Like we had the free protest bricks take one for the BLM marches. Remember, people were like, they left pallets of bricks here.
Bricks just laying there. Yeah.
And the only people that are in trouble are bad are the ones that are like, don't fight with them. As soon as you say that, you're out.
Yeah. The dirtbag leftist all-stars, me and Jimmy were in that. We were preaching unity in the thing. We were talking about, I was talking about Proud Boy being cool with the Black Lives Matter guys. Like, hey, don't fight each other, the people upstairs. And they belittled me for doing that, for saying come together. It was Daily Beast.
Oh, yeah.
Daily Beast. You know what I'm saying?
Beast,
we have our guests waiting, so I'm going to play just a little bit of this clip right here, too, because it's going to lead right to what's going on. So just listen to this. Now, this is the State Department. Remember you were saying before earlier, Kurt, when they were saying, oh, we kind of admitted it. And then we're like, oh, well, no. We just nudged. But
let's see Count Chocula here.
State Department, here we go.
Thank you, sir. Jazeb Ali from Airway News. A couple of days ago, on the arrest of Imran Khan, you said there are cases that are so obviously unfounded that the United States believe it should say something about the matter. And the U.S. has not made that determination in this case. So what is it in Khan's case that makes you think it is not unfounded? What criteria do you use to make that determination if it is a founded or unfounded case?
I will just say that we continue to believe that these are matters for the Pakistani people to decide. Our bottom line principle is that we continue to call for the respect of democratic principles, human rights, and the rule of law in Pakistan, as we do around the world. Yes, it's a reported to be a Pakistani document. I can't speak to whether it is an actual Pakistani document or not. Just simply don't know. With respect to the comments that were reported, I'm not going to speak to private diplomatic exchanges, other than to say that even if those comments were accurate as reported, they in no way show the United States taking a position on who the leader of Pakistan ought to be.
In no way?
None. Not even mentioning the nudge.
Okay, now just think of the wording they used in that cipher.
Yeah.
Okay, that led to the direct
removal
of the president. And the case they're trying to make against Trump for January 6th, when Trump said, don't even do that.
Yes.
But they're going to prove in his mind he knew that he didn't win. And this is what they take with an actual coup they did.
Yes.
Come see our live shows. We're going to be in Chicago, Rosemont, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, New York City, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Stamford, Toronto, Toledo, Detroit, St. Louis, and more. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets.